Welcome to the October 22nd meeting of the Auburn Board of Selectmen. Under the open meeting law, is there anybody recording this meeting tonight? Being none, can we stand and salute the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now, I saw a couple of new faces come in just as we were getting the meeting started. We do have a sign-in sheet for public comments. Do any of you care to have any public comments tonight? Okay, Mr. Rafferty, I have you, and but if there's nobody else, then we'll get started with the public comments.
Yes, Ken Ethiers.
Yep. Ken Ethier, please.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Ken Ethier. I live at 404 Leicester Street, and I'm here tonight to tell you a little bit about the late Mikey Laughlin. He was in my class in 1968, was killed about a year later in Vietnam. And of the 5 people that are on the monument in front of the high school, Mike is the only one that never got his picture put up at the wall, because they had no picture. So my granddaughter went down to Washington a while back, and she told me that. And I was also, last winter, I was doing something at the school department, and it was mentioned to me. It seems that Mike never had his picture taken fast enough to get it into the yearbook, and nobody had a photograph of Mike. And I went to our class reunion and got up in front of everybody and asked them. And Laney Hardy actually produced a picture. We went over to the museum and they electronically copied it. So Mike's picture will be at the Vietnam wall now. And I just wanted to maybe ask the people to think about Mike a little bit, where he gave his life for the country, and he's now going to have his picture, at least have his picture up. It's a real little thing for what he gave, but I just hope everybody at home and everybody here would think a little bit about Mike. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ethier. I think it's very important we recognize all our veterans who gave the ultimate sacrifice, and also the veterans who served and have retired and have moved forward, brought the town of Auburn and well as the other towns and cities across this nation forward. And it's great for you to come forward, and I really appreciate you making note of that and getting that picture for the wall so that he can be recognized and be remembered. Again, Kenny, thank you very much. Secondly, we have Alan Rafferty, and we're going to talk a little bit about the voter turnout, which I think is a little important.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Al Rafferty, 18 Paul Street. Yeah, I would like to congratulate Mr. Ethier, thank him for what he did. He's the kind of man that you would want a friend, the kind of friend that you would want to have, who would remember someone after such a long time. So I think the town is very lucky to have someone like him. I'd like to speak tonight briefly about voter turnout. An election is coming up, and it's no secret that voter turnout is dropping locally, statewide, nationally, depending on what the election is. But people are not participating in our democracy anymore. What is the reason? We're not sure. But we have to turn it around. There's no doubt about it, because our democracy is at stake. The Yankee Express recently had an article on voter turnout. Apparently, there's something called the Senator Louis Bertinazi Foundation. I hope I said his name right. Outstanding Citizenship Award, where they rank the towns according to voter turnout. I was surprised to see that the town of Auburn was only doing so-so in voter turnout. In for the 2017 local turnout, we had roughly 9% of people who show up to vote. In 2018, the local turnout was roughly 13%. 2018 September primary, it was 17%, for an average of 13%, which ranks us, ranks us 11th out of 19 towns. And apparently what this foundation does is it gives out awards to the town clerk's office of the town that has a great voter turnout. Apparently they think town clerks are responsible for voter turnout. So what they do is they, with the highest percentage of voters who cast ballots, they declared the winner of the Outstanding Citizenship Award as Best Voting Community. They get a check for $1,000 to the town's clerk and board of registrars, along with a plaque to the Board of Selectmen. And in addition, a large banner will be unfurled and awarded to the townspeople whose civic spirit is turning out to vote and earn the award. So I would ask the town of Auburn, let's do a better job. Let's show up to vote. I know that in last year's local election, which I participated in, the turnout was low, 13%. I just asked myself, where is everybody? Okay. Some people say, well, they didn't know. Okay. All right, so then maybe that's where the town clerk's office has to do a better job advertising that there's an election. Is it her fault? Who knows? Are people too busy? Perhaps. Do people not care? Perhaps. But we have to turn it around, and so I would call upon Deborah Grimo to increase her efforts, to increase participation, and do her best to promote democracy in the town of Auburn. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rafferty. To the town manager, Julie, we do have electric signboards. Do we not have the electric signboard at the firehouse? And we must have other ways of notifying the voters of, when the dates are.
Through the chair, yes, the town clerk did post it on our electronic message boards, also put it on Auburn Cable TV in our newsletter. It appears often throughout the year with various election calendars, and also on the website and social media.
So it appears she's doing her due diligence. It's a matter of some of the other things that Mr. Rafferty may have made a mention on tonight about participation. That may be part of it also. But I do believe that the town clerk, as a matter of fact, we just got a code red tonight about our town meeting tomorrow night at 7 o'clock at the high school. So she is pursuing whatever notifications have to be done. So I thank you, Mr. Rafferty, for coming forward and making that note, because I fall right behind you with that. I think it's very, very important that we go out and vote. It's our right to be able to go out and do that. And many people over the years, and well, Mr. McLaughlin, also our freedoms are here because we can now vote because of people like him. So it's very, very important. And thank you for coming forward. And Mr. Jewell, please.
I'll add to it after.
I know that for inclement weather or for...
Excuse me, Mr. Jewell, would you just, for the record, just your name and...
Oh, George
address,
Jewell.
please?
Thank you. During inclement weather, or like when it's excessive heat, we get a robocall that public buildings are open. Maybe it's a possibility of having a townwide robocall about the elections.
Okay, thank you.
Through the
Ms.
chair,
Jacobson.
the town clerk can absolutely do that. As you said, she did one for tomorrow night's town meeting, which is a good reminder for those town meeting members who are elected. We have a town meeting tomorrow night. And also the other reminder, and it's a good opportunity to bring it up, there is early voting. It started today, and it is in the clerk's office, and it follows town hall hours in addition to some hours on this Saturday. We've been promoting it. It's been on your last couple of agendas. It is on our website. It is on our social media sites, and it's on Auburn Cable TV. And my understanding from the town clerk this afternoon, I believe by around 3 o'clock, they already had 150
Wow.
voters come in and vote. So early voting has been, it was popular last year when it was started, and it continues. So just for everyone, a reminder, you can come in now and vote. You don't have to wait until the election day.
Great.
And
Thank you.
I will mention that to the town clerk about putting out, using Code Red as a town-wide reminder about elections.
That'd be great. Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda, I would like to get a motion to move up Board of Selectmen General Items 5A, and then followed along with 5C.
So moved. Second.
Any questions, comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. So 5A, we have a request for addition of a doing business as to current motor vehicle Class 1 license Herb Chambers of Auburn, 735 Southbridge Street, to Herb Chambers of Auburn doing business as Genesis Motor America of Auburn. Have we a representative?
Yes.
Please. Yes.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. My name is Christopher Mingase. I'm an attorney, and I represent Herb Chambers of Auburn. That's exactly correct. We operate a Hyundai dealership over at 735 Southbridge Street, and we've been at that location since 1999. As part of that operation, Hyundai has been giving us cars under the Genesis label, and we've been selling them out of that dealership. Just recently, there's been a nationwide decision that they're going to spin off this Genesis, no longer going to be a Hyundai product, but they're going to have a separate company producing it, kind of like a spin-off of what Toyota did with their Lexus brand. And so it'll be a higher brand of Hyundai. So we needed to have our Class 1 license amended to have an additional DBA for that location, where we will sell 1 or 2 cars probably a month initially. We don't expect it's going to have a big change in the dealership whatsoever. This is kind of a test market for Genesis and how they're going to brand this new product. So we're looking to put our Class 1 certificate to add in, not only for the Hyundai product, but also the Genesis product.
Okay. Any questions, comments? I guess I got a question on what is Genesis Motor America?
So Genesis Motor America is going to be the new corporate entity that manufactures the Genesis vehicle. Okay. So it's kind of what Lexus is to Toyota.
And so the operation will not be changing. This is just basically a change of
That's correct. And
management and change of.
Well, so what we'll be doing is we'll train specifically our salespeople on the brand, and we'll have a manager who deals with the Genesis product. But in all likelihood, it's going to be the same person who will do both, or you may have an assistant manager who will help run that Genesis side of the business.
Okay.
And any new signage, of course, will come before the board for if we seek any signage of that nature. But anything internally, we may put some new signs inside.
Yeah, Mr. Berthium.
I'll just make a motion to approve the addition of a DBA current motor vehicle Class 1 license, Herb Chambers of Auburn, 735 Southbridge Street, to Herb Chambers of Auburn, DBA Genesis Motor America of Auburn. Second.
Okay. Is there any questions? Comments? Being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Can I just get
Yes,
a
Mr.
clarification?
Mingus.
I want to make sure that vote that's going to be in addition to the Hyundai brand. So we'll be doing both Hyundai and Genesis, so it's not a replacing of the Hyundai.
The
that
motion
location.
did say addition.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Addition of a DBA.
My hearing's starting to go, I think. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mingase, thank you very much. Thank you for coming forward.
Thank you very much.
Okay. The next we have, under 5C, Board of Selectmen General Items, the proclamations and recognitions. First, we have the request by the Auburn Historical Society for 2 proclamations. First, we'll take honoring Chester P. Tuttle, the only Auburn man to be killed in World War I, on the occasion of the 100th anniversary of his death. And is there somebody here to give us a little bit more background on that?
Thank you. Once again, my name is George Jewell. This is Ken Ethia. I've been working with the Auburn Historical Society to make sure that we honor a number of things that are happening here. Chester P. Tuttle was not the only person just to die. He died 10 days before the end of the war. So close and yet so far. There's going to be a rededication of his gravesite at Hillside Cemetery on November 1st at 6 p.m., and we were asking that the board issue a letter of appreciation and dedication of that event. I did speak with the deputy fire chief. Because it's 6 o'clock, it's going to be dark, but they are going to provide lighting for the event so that dignitaries, whoever wants to show up. The American Legion Post Chesapeake Tuttle is going to be laying a wreath there. In fact, they're going to be putting a wreath at all 3 ceremonial things, which I'll mention to you. The rain date for that is November 4th, which happens to be his birthday. So at November 1st, it'll be at 6 p.m. at Hillside Cemetery. If it's pouring out and inclement weather, it'll be moved to Sunday, November 4th at 2 p.m. I don't know, Mr. Chairman, I don't know if you want to take these individually and have the dedication.
Yes, I do, but I would, I guess before we get started on the second one, well, let's first off, let's get a motion on the proclamation for item 5C, number 1.
So make a motion to have the Board of Selectmen do a proclamation in honor of Chester P. Tuttle, who was killed in World War I on the occasion of his 100th anniversary of his death.
Okay,
I'll second.
so the motion been made and seconded. Any questions, comments?
If I may,
Yes?
we're hoping that a member of the board will be there to read the letter of proclamation
Okay,
to represent the
I
town.
believe that can happen. Other than that, no other questions or comments? Being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Mr. Jewell, I would request that you get a hold of Ms. Kwiatkowski and have her maybe put something together for proclamation that would be, you know.
It's over here.
Oh, you do? You've already got it all put together? Okay, I haven't seen it as yet. Thank you.
She's been very kind.
Okay. All right. That'd be great. So we do have a proclamation there, so, okay, great. Thank you. I didn't get those. Okay, so 5C, we have the proclamation for the first proclamation. Now, acknowledging the 100th anniversary of the end of World War I and the rededication of the Chester P. Tuttle Monument at Tuttle Square on November 12th, and the World War I Monument at Town Hall with wreath-laying ceremonies. Mr. Jewell.
Well, on November 12th, which is Veterans Day, the first is going to be the rededication. It says 2 p.m. They're going to probably meet there a few minutes before. And once again, the American Legion is going to provide the wreath laying for the ceremony to rededicate Chester P. Tuttle Square in front of the Auburn Historical Society building. And then from there, we're going to move up to the front of the town hall and have the dedication and remembrance of 11/11/11. The First World War ended on the 11th month, on the 11th day, at exactly 11 a.m. in the morning, when Germany signed a document known as the Armistice. Subsequent to that, Congress later voted to establish Armistice Day to commemorate all of those who bravely fought and gave their lives in the First World War. Later on, it was changed to Veterans Day after World War II and the Korean Wars. Congress voted to change it from Armistice Day to Veterans Day, to honor all veterans who fought in the wars. But we think it highly significant that this anniversary should be remembered for all of those who sacrificed and gave so much to protect this country. Mr. Ethier, you have...
I just would say that Chester P. Tuttle was the first to die in World War I, and it's kind of a tradition in Auburn to name a square after the first person. Norman Hall would be the first person to die in World War II, and he has a square at, let me see, Bryn Mawr Ave and Oxford Street, And David Cussy, as we all know, has a square at Church Street and Southbridge Street. That's the reason that we chose him more than, there's several people that died, and you can see their name on the monument. In front of the building here, there's a star next to the people that died in World War I. Thank you.
Okay, thank you both. Is a,
Well, so, again, we'd like, obviously, a member of the board to represent. There's going to be a formal program. I've been working with Ms. Biddix about that. She's the president of the Historical Society. I spoke to the person at the American Legion Post, and they were going to contact the police department. I haven't been able to contact him yet. I was going to try today, but I'll get back in touch with Sharon about it. He was asking the Auburn Police to have an honor guard there, and when I spoke to Deputy Fire Chief, he was very willing to have members of the Auburn Fire Department act as color guard. There'll be, the national anthem will be sung by a student selected by the school committee, and a student has also been selected to read in Flanders Field. And various people will speak, I'm assuming from the Legion and from the Historical Society, and the dedication from the Selectmen, etc. So, thank you.
okay, thank you. Is there a motion?
Do we need a motion for the second proclamation?
Yes. Yep.
So, make a motion that the Board of Selectmen approve to do a proclamation acknowledging the 100th anniversary of the end of World War I and the rededication of the Chester P. Tuttle Monument at Tuttle Square on November 12th at 2 p.m.
Is there a second?
One second.
Second. Is there any other questions or comments? Being none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you both very much for coming
Thank you
forward.
very much.
Now, are you going to be advertising, making note anywhere particular so that people are aware of this and that
It's
they
been in the
able to
Auburn,
come?
it already has been in the Auburn News and various newsletters that are sent out, but there was a big article in the Auburn News about it.
Okay. And will there be any other?
I think there was one in the Telegram, too, I think. Yes.
Okay, will there be any other notifications going out before then?
I can check. I don't know about that, but I can check.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Oh, this is a side. My grandfather, he lived in Auburn, not during the war. He was in Webster, Mass. During the war. He moved here in 1938. But he was a sergeant in World War I, and he was trained at Camp Lejeune, and they gave each soldier a New Testament Bible, a little bit of history. I still have that. And he exchanged a pack of Lucky Strike cigarettes for a German prisoner's silver snuff box, and I have that also. A little trivia for history.
Thank you. Okay. Now we'll get back to our agenda. Let's see.
5B.
5B. Yeah, the gift acceptances?
And then we can go back to mine later.
Okay, so we'll do the gift acceptances. Let's see, 5B. Here. All right. We have a couple here tonight. First off, we'll start off with the ones we have on the agenda, and then there was a couple of extras added after that. For the fire department, fire rescue department, from Maurice and Susan Wilson in memory of Tom Norberg, $100. From Nancy Nims in memory of Tom Norberg, $50. Bruce and Linda Terry in memory of Tom Norberg, $50.
Make a
And-
motion to accept with gratitude.
And we've also got,
Oh,
we also
there's
got
one more from Kate.
one more here, yep. Well, let's take the three of those first.
Make a motion to accept with gratitude. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. And we have one here for the Fire Rescue Department from Cadence Solutions. It's a thermal imaging camera worth $5,000 to the fire department gift account.
Make a motion to accept with gratitude and have a letter sent, signed by the chairman of the select board.
Second.
Okay, any other further questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Now we have, from the Packagug Golf Course, the McLaughlin family, in honor of Robert Townsend, a $250 check. Donation of a tree was made to the golf course on behalf of Robert Townsend.
Make a motion to accept with gratitude.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. And then from the town of Auburn, Kiwanis, $783.79. This is to maintain a marker for Fred Berry at the corner of Oxford and Hurd Street.
I'll make a motion to accept with gratitude.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion been made and seconded. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Okay. Now, we can go back to item 3, economic development promotional video. Ms. Jacobson.
Through the board, if I may, I just want to show you a new promotional video that we have completed with the assistance of our Economic Development Committee, who did a great job, and working with Chris Hugo from Auburn Cable Television, our cable television manager, and Matt Benoit and Shannon Regan from Planning and Economic Development, respectively. The intent of this video is to help us promote Auburn in our business attraction, recruitment, and retention efforts. And we will be combining this along with the folders and brochures that we had done that we brought into you most recently. And now we can actually put a copy of this video on a disc inside of anything that we do a mailing on, so people will have this as well. Then it will be put on our website. It will be available, we can use it for mailings. It could be available if we attended a business expo and we had a booth there. And we also want to make sure that we promote it heavily. So I just wanted to show it to you. I think it's about 5 minutes, if that's okay.
Great, thank you.
Again, it might be a little difficult to hear just because of the setup of the room, but hopefully.
Auburn invites you to join us and enjoy all that makes Auburn a great place to do business. Yes, there really is a lot to like about Auburn, and Auburn wants your business, and your business wants Auburn.
We moved to Auburn in the early 80s. I think we were looking to expand from our location in Leicester, and the reason we came to Auburn was the space. I think it was a great space. It's open. We could pretty much do whatever we wanted on the inside of the building. And I think since we came here, it's been a great home for us.
The town's great. It's a great spot. Probably one of the best spots you can be for a business in central Massachusetts, I would think. So we don't really want to leave Auburn. I don't think we ever want to leave Auburn.
So come join Auburn's numerous commercial, industrial, retail, hotel and restaurant businesses located in the heart of central Massachusetts. Auburn's best asset is its location and access to major highways.
There's a lot to like about Auburn. All the major routes that run through the town make it operate like a bigger city. And at the same time, the community is really close to that. Town hall, residences, the businesses all support each other.
Auburn welcomes the opportunity to meet and discuss with you why Auburn should be your #1 choice when starting, relocating, or expanding your business. Located off the Massachusetts Turnpike, Auburn is a hub to major New England cities, and Auburn's fast, easy access to the airports of these cities provides for excellent distribution of goods and products.
So what drew me to Auburn is the fact that it's in the center of the state. With the Mass Pike, 290, 395, routes 12 and 20, all converging into Auburn, it really makes it easy for our staff and for those that do business with Central One to get here.
Because of its prime location, Auburn's businesses benefit from Auburn's daily high volume of commuters, workforce, and best of all, its customers. A dynamic, skilled, and qualified workforce provides an excellent labor pool and customer base in Auburn.
We've been in Auburn for over 45
Yes, there really is a lot to like about Auburn. And Auburn wants your business. And your business wants Auburn.
So, again, and I also want to thank the Auburn Chamber of Commerce because they had provided a donation to the town to be able to, that is. Thank you. Also, they provided a donation to the town to be able to purchase the DVDs or flash discs or anything that we need to be able to use this in our recruiting efforts. So as we explained at the last time when we came with the packages, we've been targeting various companies that we assume are expanding or have heard that they're expanding. Also, we've targeted a number of commercial industrial brokers and developers and keep trying to get the word out about Auburn. So we're really happy to have this.
That's great. I think it ties it all together. Like you say, with businesses, lifestyle, and culture, I think it's an excellent presentation, and it shows Auburn in a very, very a good light.
Great. Yeah, they did a great job.
Okay. Any comments?
I think that's a great video. I like the fact that it definitely promoted our location. One of the things that I always brag about is the fact that I'm 1 hour from pretty much every major airport in New England. You know, I talked about our computer business years ago when we started out, and everyone was out at the 128 Beltway and saying to us that we should bring our business out there, and I said, why in the world would I want to do that when I can be on a highway and anywhere in Massachusetts, you know, without traffic very quickly. So we definitely have a prime location here, and I think the video did a great job of showing that.
Thank you.
No, I think it'll help, and it was a really well thought out video. I like the advertisement of not only our location, which is one of our best assets, but talking about the tax rates and actually having business owners in Auburn talk. I think we'll certainly relate, so hopefully it works.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for allowing us to show it.
Okay, next we have item 5D. It's vote on the schedule of fees and schedule of fines, and you've found that in your packets. Ms. Jacobson.
Yes, through the chair. If you recall, about 3 years ago, when we finalized the omnibus rewrite of all of the general bylaws and administrative bylaws, in that section, under licenses, anytime there was a license or permit, it was stated in those bylaws that the Board of Selectmen would vote on a schedule of fees and a schedule of fines on an annual basis, rather than having to send the whole thing through town meeting and then having to follow the whole process and go back to the Attorney General's office. These fees and fines generally are, first of all, the reference is in the column, the second to the right column, and that's the reference to our bylaw. Most of these are established by Mass General Law, so they have to follow the guidelines under Mass General Law. So every year, we ask the department heads to take a look at those fees and fines that are related to their department and make any recommendations for changes. We don't have any recommended changes this year. Everybody believes that the fees and fines are appropriate for the service. So we would just ask that the board take a vote to make this schedule. It would then become effective on today's date for the coming year.
I'll make a motion to approve the schedule of fees and fines as proposed.
I'll second for discussion.
Okay. The motion been made and seconded. Mr. LaLiberte.
I just had a quick question, and it's not really related to the fines, but just something that's on here. Sign display violation, would that include any kinds of signs that go up in Auburn before 30 days before an election? I know that those are our bylaws, so I was just wondering if that's what that...
I believe that would be part of it, yes. Because this particular one references the sign bylaw, and we also have a sign bylaw that is the zoning ordinance as well. So this really applies to the general bylaws, but if it's cross-referenced, it would. I can double-check for you to make sure it's cross-referenced, but the sign bylaw, that is actually similar to an ordinance, it's in the zoning bylaw, that would have its own description in it.
Thank you.
Anything else? Nope. So the motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Being none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. We go to item 5E, and it's a vote to hold the tax classification hearing on November 13th. That'll be our next scheduled meeting in November at 7 o'clock. Ms. Jacobson?
Through the chair. No, this would just be our recommendation. We need to wait until after the fall town meeting, so we can go back and make whatever adjustments we have to make based on whatever gets passed tomorrow evening. So we felt that we would be able to do that. We would also have certification from the state. We anticipate getting that at the end of this week. So this should give us enough time to hold the annual tax classification hearing.
Okay. So that tax classification hearing again is going to be on November 13th, on Monday, 2018 at 7 o'clock here. We need a motion to have that appear on the agenda.
All right. I'll make a motion to hold the tax classification hearing on November 13th, 2018 at 7 p.m. in the Board of Selectmen's room.
Second.
Okay, motion been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Being none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. We go to item F, and it's discussion about October 29th Board of Selectmen meeting. Our bylaws require that we have a meeting the 2nd and 4th, and if need be, have it on the 5th, and this will be the 5th Monday. And I'll ask Ms. Jacobson, have we got anything on?
As of this moment, we don't have anything that would require an immediate attention by the board. Everything that we would be thinking of putting on there could wait until your next meeting on November 13th. If anything were to change in the next day or so, we would certainly let you know and make sure that we posted it by Thursday, but right now we don't have anything.
Okay, so that, I'll accept a motion for having our meeting the next November 13th and nothing on the 29th of October.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Under the town manager items, we have the economic development promotional video, which was excellent. Let's see. Missing something here.
Do you need this?
I'm looking for the second page of...
Oh, here, you can use mine.
No, but I'm looking for the second page of my, thank you. Okay. Yeah, we're all set with that. The second thing, the next thing we have is item 6B. It's the second meeting on the proposed Drury Square Village Bylaw, November 7th at 6:30 in the Board of Selectmen meeting room. Ms. Jacobson.
Through the chair to the members of the board, this would be the second meeting that we're holding on the proposed Drury Square bylaw, and it's a village bylaw. We had one meeting about, let's see, it was on September 26th at the high school, and we did televise it and advertised it heavily, and we promised the attendees at that meeting that that would not be the one and only meeting. It was just the start of dialogue with the community on whether this would work, what some of the concerns may be, seeing if we could answer any questions. This is being proposed through the town with assistance from the Central Mass Regional Planning Commission. And the intent of this is, again, it's part of our economic development efforts. It would be a way to help enhance and create the Drury Square area as a more of a identifiable downtown area, and to try to allow for uses that would encourage pedestrian activity, encourage businesses to locate there, businesses that are currently utilizing their property under a certain use would be grandfathered. This would be moving forward if there are any changes in ownership. It gives the opportunity to have some different things occur there. So we've really been targeting our efforts on the business owner and property owners in that area, because those are the ones that will be directly impacted by this, and we want to get their input. But obviously, it is also open to the public, and we did have residents attend the last meeting. So this is the second meeting that we're holding, and you'll also see that there is a flyer. And this next one will be on November 7th at 6:30 p.m. here in the Board of Selectmen's room. And again, we're working with the CMRPC to listen to feedback. We're just trying to encourage residents and businesses to come and talk to us about this. The overall intent is to have a draft bylaw that would go to the annual town meeting in May. So until then, because it is a zoning bylaw, it has to go through the process. We're just in the very preliminary stages of getting feedback. Once the bylaw has been crafted and enhanced from its current draft form, then we will be bringing it back to the board for you to forward it to the planning board for the requisite public hearings, and then move through the process for a zoning bylaw change. So it's just an announcement of that.
Comments?
You don't need a motion, it was just information to get it out to the public.
I'll just make a comment that, we've been talking about the development of Drury Square as, kind of a walkable district, and as it stands right now, the layout, and I usually try to come up with as many good ideas as I can on things like that, but they're really, the current businesses, buildings, and everything else that are down there aren't really conducive to building a walking district, but I would love nothing better than to have a walking district, have a little downtown area like that. I love, whether it be in New Hampshire, whether it be in other towns in Massachusetts, being able to walk to a downtown, go to a few different shops and, see local people and, maybe have a breakfast place. So I would strongly encourage anybody, if you have any ideas, to please come to these meetings and share your ideas with us so that we can see what we can do to make that Drury Square area a great little downtown walking district. Thank you.
Anything else? Okay. I do have one question. Have any of the business owners approached you or your office with any ideas or suggestions?
We've had several business owners attend the first meeting, and it was an excellent dialogue. A lot of it was concern about whether they would be required to adhere to this new bylaw now, and that question was put to rest when we stated that this would be moving forward for changes in ownership. So yes, the business community is aware of it. We did a lot of personal one-on-one outreach to the business community to make sure they're aware of it. This is another piece of the whole puzzle that's going into Drury Square with the Drury Square Vision Plan, and also the ongoing work with Central One Credit Union to establish a facade improvement program, which would be available to business owners and property owners in Drury Square to help enhance their facades. Put in attractive fronts, attractive signage, maybe some nice lighting, some plantings, some benches. And all of this also would be complemented by the 2021 reconstruction of Auburn Street. That is on the state tip list.
Okay. Is there any grants that we can apply for other than what we've already approved or looked at for, was a $25,000 grant for just the study? And then is there any other grant money going to be available for that project?
There are several pieces to the project. So we did have, we've received a grant to actually work on this vision to work on the implementation of the vision plan as far as the village district bylaw. We also had the grant for the Drury Square vision plan itself. And we will be anticipating the donation from the advertising signage billboard company, Outdoor Media, and that money would be our intent. Again, we've talked about it with the board, but to recommend to the board that we utilize those funds to implement many of the Drury Square strategies. And then the project with the state, and I don't have it in front of me, but I think it's around a $2.3 million project. So we're always looking for additional grants to augment what's going to be happening, but it's perfect timing because if we're going to be reconstructing that area, we need to look at the sidewalk treatments, the crosswalks, the lighting, the plantings, the potentially flags. We really have an opportunity here. It may take some additional dollars on the town side, and anything that we can augment with grants, we'll continue to do that.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Next, We have item 6C, the October 23rd, tomorrow night's special town meeting. Ms. Jacobson?
Yeah, through the chair, just a reminder to town meeting members that we do have a special fall town meeting tomorrow night at 7 p.m. We know we're competing with the first game of the Red Sox World Series, so that's a bit of a challenge. So we would just encourage town meeting members to get there. We'd like to start on time if we can, so it'd be nice to have a quorum right at 7, and hopefully we can then get through the warrant articles. I believe there are 14 of them, so we could hopefully get through everything and answer everyone's questions and make everyone comfortable, and then people can get out of there and get home and watch the remainder of the World Series game.
Great. Thank you. Again, tomorrow night, October 23rd, Auburn High School, 7 o'clock. Please be there and be on time. Item 6D, it's a grant application by the Police Department, the Executive Office of Public Safety and Security, Edward J. Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant Program. Ms. Jacobson.
Through the chair, the police department continues to seek funding for various projects and initiatives, and this particular request is to provide equipment for license plate reading, which will allow the police to run license plates much faster, whether it's a specialized equipment where you could drive through a parking lot and it could read all the license plates on the cars within the parking lot, and they'd be able to obviously run that quickly through their system and see if there were any issues. We are applying for the grant funds for this equipment, and there is no match required, so we'd like to put in the request for that.
Okay, and the request is for $17,831, and this is a, I just lost the word, competitive grant?
It is a competitive
It
grant.
is a competitive grant, okay. Is there any motion?
I just had a question through the chair. Is this amount that the grant is being applied for the full amount? I know there's no match required, but this would cover the full expense of these?
It would cover the full expense of one piece of the equipment. Down the road, the police department, actually, we just had a meeting with them on their CIP requests in the future, and in 2024, they'd potentially be looking for additional funding, which could be offset by grant funds again, to continue this, because it's our understanding that the life expectancy of this type of equipment, because it gets utilized so often, is probably 5 or 6 years. So this would get us one piece of this equipment. In the future, if it's something that works out well, after they go through, utilizing it, they may want to purchase more. But right now, this would definitely cover the one.
As a follow-up through the chair, would this only go, since it's just one part, would it just go in one of our cars, or?
My understanding is it is a portable unit that could be transferred between vehicles.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to authorize the application to accept and expend grant funds for $17,831 for the license plate reader.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any further discussion, questions? Being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. And under E, we have a grant application by the Police Department, Executive Office of Public Safety and Security's Traffic Safety Grant, and it's for $10,000. Ms. Jacobson.
Through the chair, thank you. This is a grant, again, through EOPS, which is Executive Office of Public Safety, and the police department would like to apply for $10,000, which is the maximum amount that you can apply for, and it would be used as overtime traffic enforcement shifts for a one-year period from December 18 to December 19. We have received this grant before, and we've been successful for several years. It is a competitive grant, but we are required to apply for it every year. So it covers the overtime traffic enforcement shifts, so we can put additional police on the road.
Okay. Mr. Berthew.
The use of that is for construction sites, or is it more for like 4th of July events and that type of?
No, this is actually more for traffic stops and radar checks, and keeping traffic at the appropriate speed limit.
Oh, so it's normal every day?
Traffic enforcement, mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to authorize the application for the Executive Office of Public Safety and Security Traffic Safety Grant, and to accept and expend grant funds.
Second.
Okay. Any further question, comments? Being none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Under 7, we have several tabled items here tonight, and I would request that we, hold these until we have a complete board. First one, we have Mr. LaLiberty's discussion on a town-sponsored informative mailings for ballot questions. I don't know if there's any comments or things you want to add to it tonight before, or should we wait for the whole board to get back?
I wouldn't push for making any decisions without the whole board. I know that there's a resident here that was looking to hear what the results were, or, well, not results, but the update was. So if we could, I'd like to go over that.
Okay. So that, well, when we have our next full board, then we will put that back on. So we will table that item until such time that we have a full board. Again, the revision of the recognition policy is the same thing. The proclamation policy and new recommendation for the subcommittee's consideration. Yeah, we'll take a look at that also. And then under D, discussion and vote on proposed board goal to perform a comprehensive review of all policies of the Board of Selectmen. And for policies to go before the Development Coordinating Group, I asked the DCG for comments on those specific policies. So all of those we will discuss at a future meeting when we have all 5 members of the board here.
Through the chair, if I may, because Mr. LaLiberty just mentioned that a resident is here, I do want to point out that I did put in your packets a report on what's required to put something on a local ballot. So if the resident would like a copy of it, you're welcome to have my copy. And also, we can make it available to anyone who asks, and still have the board discussion later, but want to make sure that you have this ahead of time. But I would tell you that the basic gist of it is that we are not able to do that on a ballot without a vote adopting a certain chapter in the Mass General Law. But that's all in here, and we can wait and explain it with the whole board. But just want to make sure, since you did sit here, happy to give me my copy.
Okay. Is there anything else come before the board? Has anybody else got anything? Ms. Jacobson, have you got anything?
I'm all set, thank you.
Okay. So tomorrow night at the high school, 7 o'clock for our special town meeting. We get there on time, we can get out and see most of the game tomorrow night. We have minutes from September 24th. Is there any questions, comments, errors, omissions? Being none, I'll accept them as presented, and I'll accept a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, and good night.